Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Commodity Futures Report for Monday, November 7. So this Thursday we've got CPI figures and we've got jobless claims on the same day on Thursday. Coming into the yields here, we've seen this little move off the top here, which appears to be in 5 waves, and then we're looking for a bit of a corrective rally, which we've got here. So we may have started the correction for this, but obviously we know that they're going, that they're not dropping the plan of lifting rates. So we'll see how that goes, but it's a little bit difficult to count in here. It'd take me a bit of time to do that. I did notice the Germany's 10-year yields here dropping off pretty sharply as well here, so a little bit of correction here for that, so we might see further downside with that. But I mean, it doesn't really finish off in 5 waves nicely here, so it could certainly be an A wave, a B wave and a C wave and just continue to move up, but we'll just normally get a dance around large numbers, So yeah, let's just go back to this one at the 10-year yields here. So yeah, so last week we noticed a little 5-wave move in through here. It's a little bit tricky to see. If I just go to the 15-minute chart here and look at that, we did label it a little bit. It's a bit hard to see in some of this, but it feels okay as 1 and 2. And 1, 2, and sort of third, the fourth, and third here, and the fourth and fifth seems okay. This would have to be an A wave, a B wave, and then a C wave up here. So in this case, we'd see one more high come into here, and then we'll need to come down because it'd be an A wave, a B wave, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at that point. So we'll just see how that plays out at that point. Like I said, you can always expect a dance across a large number. This is a medium level cross here, number 4. So we'll see how that plays out at that point. Okay, so over to the US dollar. So with the US dollar, the bottom line is we've either got wave 3 in place here, or we've got wave 5 as a top here. It just depends on how you want to count this off the low here. And this can be counted differently through here. I have seen different counts that folks have sent me, and thanks for that. But yeah, it still doesn't really resolve the question of either a top in place or not. If I take this as 1 and 2 here, then this will be the 38.2%. This would be the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so pulling back into the 10,700 would be okay. Obviously we got nice support at 11,000 here. I was thinking that would have an A and a B and a C wave here and then move up for 1 and so on here, but this move up here, I thought we were going okay. We started going okay and everything was sort of going okay, then we had that, it just fell out of bed here. And while that fell out of bed, then we've seen commodities lift up off that move down, and so we need to see if that move here turns into 5 waves. And if it does turn into 5 waves, well, then we'll need to look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, and 5. Now we could look at it and still look at it as a corrective move at that point. Now we could also look at it as an A wave here, a B wave here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 coming down. Do you know? So there's a couple of ways to look at it. I mean, if we get that first 5 waves here, then we're going to get further downside here, because if we actually have a top in here, then we're going to see, as this pulls down, we're going to see commodities, they'll just rebalance in terms of value. So we're going to see commodities lift up higher, so it's a little bit of a question of, I've been trying to confirm this one way or the other for quite some time now. the norm is that, if you can't figure it out, well, then it's likely to be a wave 4. So, and as a wave 4, it might travel sideways and, still become a little bit more complex. So we just got to take it one step at a time. There will be, as always with wave 4s, there's times when you're not quite sure what it is. And it's important to say that, that I don't know what it is, because, you can only move on what you know. So what we know so far is the move down here can be counted as 5 waves down here, but it's a little bit dodgy because the wave 4 and 1 overlap a little bit. There's quite a nice 5-way structure from this top down through to here. This move that we're looking at up here, it counts better as 3 waves to the upside. So it does have a bit of a bearish bias, even if we looked at it as being corrective or even having a top in place, I mean, the other thing too, I mean, the yields, like we're just looking at just then, that, if I just go back here, if I just go back to the daily chart here for a moment, see if this is going to correct here in terms of a wave 4, so it may or may not come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, and I feel confident about this count, of 1 and 2 here. It can be an A wave and a B wave, by the way, but and up for a C wave, and that could be the top, and that's the end of it, and we come down from that point. But the fundamentals don't really sort of support that. And also too, this as a wave 3 here, 1 2 here, 1 2 3 4 5, the 3rd, 4th and 5th, it's really quite a nice big wave. It's a bit, because normally in a correction have wave A here and wave C kind of the same length or some sort of equality about them, but in this case we can see that wave 3 is really quite long here for this. So, and it's a nice wave 3, it's got good form to it, and it's strong and all the rest of it. So it's likely to be a wave 4 pullback. But I'm wondering if as this pulls back, then the dollar will pull back. The bonds and everything are still cruising to the downside. So these just the TLTs here, and maybe I need to lift it up further, but I can see we've got 1 2 3 4 5 for 1 and 2, 1 2 3 4 5 here for 3rd wave, 4th wave, and probably got a low coming in here soon for this. So we might see, we've got a little, this is a weekly chart, got a bit of support here, so we could get some support here for this before moving down. But either way, this will just consolidate and then continue to move down at that point. And I think the BUND is much the same as well here. Still can have support coming in here, because we've had a good run on this. This is also weekly. We've had a good run down here. We are retaining some support here, and they can tune in with the stock market a bit. So at times they do. So. Having that kickback here, I wonder if that's, as the inverse for the dollar here. I wonder if that's sort of where we are at the moment, moving into, a more corrective pattern. I don't think we've got a top. I mean, we could have a toppy, but I don't think we have, based on, higher yields definitely be coming in. I mean, once they get them to 5%, they'll probably chill at that point. But they'll just keep kicking the can down the road. The Bank of England have got the machine printing again, and so on. So nobody wants to take responsibility. There's no Paul Volckers in the crowd. Let's move along now. But this sharp move here, I'll just look at that on the 2K tick chart where we normally look at it. So what I wanted to say here, this sharp move down here has been, we've seen the commodities have a direct, inverse action to this So the question now is that, yes, I can count it down as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down to here and then just move up from that point. That's possible. But what I wanted to point out is that if it just pulls back up to this previous high here or thereabouts and then comes down here again, that's going to give us 5 waves down here. And if it's going to give us 5 waves down here, then we're going to have some sort of ABC rally. I've probably drawn that too big. But you know the routine, we look for that 50-60%, you know, back off the lows here somewhere and then move down. So those commodities will reprieve at this point in that rally. So those commodities, be careful about chasing them to the upside because they'll just have this and this to go, you know, or they may just have that there already. Gas seems to be going up further. That's a bit of a different story, but gold and copper and those sorts of things, you know. So what we need to do is that, as you may know, I was looking at this, well, I originally had it as an A wave, and then I had it as wave 1 and 2 here, and the wave 2 looked good because it got this nice move up here, and we're looking at, you know, wave 1 up here and pulling back for wave 2. So, you know, this might be the ABC back for wave 2. It's a bit of a long shot, like very long, but, you know, you never know your luck in the in these things. So but the main point here, I have to say, with you know, bringing some common sense back into it, if we get a rally up here in 3 waves and then we come down, then you know that we have 5 waves here. And if we have 5 waves here, then we're going to have a corrective move and then another move down. And this is important for commodities, you know. So we just need to wait for the evidence to fall into place before we make a move with this. Okay, so I don't need those. So gold's, US spot gold here has had a direct push up in line with the US dollar. Now the thing here is that this move here counts, I mean, you can't see it here very well, but on the intraday it does count as a corrective move. So this move down here, we've been labeling it as an impulse move. It could be counted correctively as well. But the thing is that on this low of wave 3 here, we haven't made a new low here. You know, we could put wave 5 here and be done with it, and that's the end of the story, and we turn into a bullish move at that point. But I can't go there just yet. It doesn't make any sense to me because I've got a corrective wave here, and I haven't made a new low here. It's not that we have to make a new low. It's just that we don't need to make a new low here. We can have it as a truncated 5th wave. But yeah, I just want a bit more evidence than that. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's too early. So we've either got wave 1 down to here like we've always had, and then looking at this, I thought we're on our way at this point, and then this happened. So we either look at it as wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C wave up here for wave 2, or we're going to have to look at wave 4 becoming more complex over here. I don't want to turn bullish unless I know where the dollar is, and I also want more evidence within all of this particular space here as well for this. So I don't know if we're on 5 or 10k ticks here. I'll just have a look. I don't know. Probably go to a chart that hasn't been updated for a month, but okay, this is all good. So yeah, so let's just get a bit more data in here. Where are we? 5, 2. So this is this wave 4 here. So yeah, and yeah, we can count this down as 5 waves here, but I know that you could count it as corrective as well. So I went with the 5 waves because I know that was corrective. But then we got this sharp move up here. So I still need to pull this apart here a little bit. I haven't just had the time to do that this morning. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that this is corrective, and now this here is corrective. So as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave up here, that's sort of looking good, but we could be falling into the trap of a more complicated wave 4 here, you know. You know, we could even be in a triangle pattern here, you know, for the old typical wave 4 triangle pattern as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E wave and then come down, you know. that's possible. So I don't have any answers for this just yet, but I do feel that we are in, this corrective pattern. I don't think we're out of that pattern. Because I would have to look at this being wave one here with an A wave and a B wave and a C wave, and I'm just not getting it. I tried to do this in copper, and copper gives me a better outlook at looking at this as wave one to the upside, but I just can't see it here for this. It just doesn't give it to me, unless I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in here and 5, something like that, like squishing it in there. But forcing things around is sort of a thing that you'd only do if you really have to do something, but otherwise I just think let the dust settle a little bit, and it'll take 2 or 3 sessions for this to resolve itself. But yeah, let's just see about that. And silver, I think, is much the same as well. Like off the low here, we don't really have a good impulse wave off here, do we? It's just corrective. So I just have to relabel it. We counted 5 waves down here. We did all the right things. And maybe it doesn't make a new high above here. Maybe this is wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C wave not taking the top out. And then we come down from that point. But it's quite high. So I have to go this way. I have to go an A wave and then an A, B, C for the B wave. And then I can go 1 and 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, not a very good wave 5 here, so I could go 3, 4, 5 here as well with that. But either way, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So we could even make a new high here, but making a new high above here, I think it could be a bit of a sucker's play. So I think we're sort of we'll be over that, pulling back down at this point. So yeah, I don't think we should be racing in on the long side just yet for any of these. We'd want this as a tested support, this level here at least, but that just doesn't look like some sort of impulse wave to the upside. So just need to be very careful about how we move forward on that. I'm just going to put my gold chart back. I don't know why I put it over there. It's normally where I put my stock chart, so it's just an old habit. So with copper here, I tried to do my best to look at this in different ways. So basically, if I take this top here, just there, I can go 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So I can get 5 waves from that point. I can get, this is not very nice as a 5-wave structure here. And yeah, I mean, you can see how spiky this is here, And I just think that all of this here, if I took the spike away, it would just be, I think we really need to take the top from over here. But every which way I look at it, it's a bit tricky, because even if I looked at this if I took it as face value as 1 here and 2 here, and then down for 3 here and 4 here and 5 here, I know wave 5 is long, but we're talking commodities, so commodities tend to extend in the 5th wave. But even that said, we've got a pretty strong overlap here for this, So that doesn't really sort of add up very well. So there's a bit that doesn't add up here, that doesn't make life very easy. It does look like a nice 3rd wave down here, doesn't it? That's why I've always treated it like a 4th wave, and I'll continue to do that. But I did want to have a look at, is it possible to count 5 waves up here? And yes, it is. And the other point here that needs to be made is that this move here is in 3 waves. So that means at some point we're going to be taking that top out here. So we have been looking at this as 1 and 2 in here and 1 and 2 in here as well. So we're likely to see this as 1 and 2 and something. We're likely to see this come up here further. That's the bottom line. So do we treat that as wave 4 over to this point? That's the question. Or do we start looking at it as a low being in place? Now, the thing is copper's a bit different from gold, because copper is actually useful, and gold's useful if you think it is. But I suppose gold's, the people get married and all those sort of things. But copper is now is classified as a green metal along with lithium and so on. So it's got potential to move up. So I'm thinking that we should sort of look at it now that it's got this sort of little basing pattern going on here. I think we need to look at it as being a bit positive here. Now, how far that gets us, I don't know. It might be just that we'll need to look at this as the A wave here, and then look at the same length over here for a C wave over here, and that's it. And then we come down, you know. Anyway, I'm not sure what I've got here. I just want to have a look on the 10K and stuff, see if I've got anything there, and then the 5. No, I've got 20. Just want to have a bit of a look around, see if I've done anything over here. No. So on the 5. Okay, so this is where I started to look at it in terms of being a bit bullish. So not to worry about all of this too much. So even if I looked at if I looked at this as wave 2 here and took it down to wave 3 here, that would leave us over here at that's the 38.2% here. So it was quite nice over here for this, you know, and I was counting that up as corrector, but I re-looked at it today and asked myself, is it possible to count it up as an impulsive wave? And that's how I've done it. Doesn't count very nicely in the last bit here, but still it's made a new high here, so I've accounted for all the little waves. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that in case you're keen on this. But really the bottom line here is that if we're looking at this, because I was looking at this as a possible triangle pattern, as you may know, and I think that's still there as well, a bit of a triangle pattern for wave 4. I think it's all good. We'll have to adjust this top bit here at somewhere, wherever that comes in at. So the triangle's still good as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E wave, and that would take us in the same as gold, really, if we were talking gold in that way, you know. So yeah, but anyway, on a positive note, as 1 here and ABC for 2, and then 1 and 2, I think it was nickel that we're doing this with, wasn't it? Yeah, it looks like nickel a lot. 1 and 2, look, it doesn't count very nicely here as wave 1, but I've done it anyway, as 1, 2, 3, 4, overlap, not good, 5 here, not, you know, so it doesn't count very nicely like that bit here, but the rest of it's sort of okay. So look, anyway, we've had that big spike, and the US will probably, when it opens, will, you know, move up, and all of this will go with it. So I just wanted to see how this looks a little bit later here. So we need to count, yeah. I don't want to go long here just yet with any of this, because we'll only be, no point in going long. If we're going to go long, we should have done it above wave 1 here, you know. So going long at this point is only going to fold back on us. So we'll just, I want to, this will be, all these 4s and 5s here will be time consuming, and we'll end up seeing where the dollar is at that point as well, and so on. I think I've got this on 100 ticks as well. I'm just not sure what I've done here. Okay, that's how I've counted this up here, if you wanted to get a grip on that, with 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, 4th, 5th for the third. So I'm looking at this as a wave 4, so a wave 5 to go to the upside. I can look at it as 5C of C up here. Oh, because of the triangle pattern, that's right. So so I've got my triangle pattern here, and the bullish pattern on this one. So the A wave here, the B wave here, a C wave over here, a D and E, and then we come down at that point. But at the same time, I'm looking at 1 up here and 2 and 1 and 2. So yeah, we'll just see. We need to know where that dollar is, because obviously they'll just rebalance in value as they're traded in US dollars. So that's that. Lithium has popped its little head up through the 70, because at the 70 we've been talking about, well, it could be a wave 4 or wave 1, because I could never really pin down all the little structures to make that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, like if you ran an algo over that, an Elliott wave algo, then it would pick it up as this count here. But yeah, I just wanted a bit more evidence. So hasn't retested back here, so I'm thinking we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and then we'll see how it tests back, and then we'll be left with a high. This is just an ETF though. We follow all those, you know, half a dozen US lithium stocks in the Australian video, and some Australian ones as well, and they're all looking pretty good at the moment. So lithium, obviously, you know, we all know that there's a shortage of this particular product, and you know, we've seen heads of motor vehicle companies in the US and Europe knocking on Australia's door over here for lithium. So yeah, it's a bit of a desperation grab for it all. But yeah, no, in terms of what we're looking at in terms of patterns, it's starting to look positive, because I could always count this up here as 1 and 2 and 3 and A, B, C, D, E here, expanding flat for 4 and up for 5 here, and then looking for some sort of correction here to pull back and then pop across the top here. So I think it's looking pretty good at this stage, you know. We'll see. So yeah. I think I can remove that now. So that's lithium and uranium as well. So I did panic a bit when it come through here. I thought that we're going to get 5 waves down. It hasn't really sort of happened. If it moves back up here a little bit further, then we can look to go long. But I've still kept my count here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 I've put in, and we'll look for 1 and 2. So we'll look to build on that. This is an ETF here for uranium. I don't need to move it to the side. I can just drop that there. And nickel had that same thing as copper here. So with nickel here, I've also been like viewing it as a wave 4. So I need to wait for all this to finish. If I, as I mentioned last time I spoke about this, if we get a nice 5-wave structure here, which we should, like, I mean, we're going to get wave C here, or we're going to get it's going to be more positive. But once we get past that, this top here, as from B to C here as 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave of the fifth wave of the third, then the fourth, and then the fifth. Once we get to this point, anything above that, then we can look to be long above that safely. Do you know what I mean? Because then we've moved past our A, B, and C wave at that point. So it could be bullish. I just didn't really look at it being bullish because of wave 2 was really big, but maybe it was just, you know, waiting for the rest of the market to come into play as well. But if it's going to be bullish, then it's created a very nice accumulation process across here for a nice distribution process up to this level up here. So if you wanted to get a small position here, then that would be fine. You have to keep, well, we don't know how far wave 4 is going to pull back. That could pull back to this wave 4, so we need to be a bit mindful about that. But I'm just going to wait for the trade anyway. I'll count. Everything seems to be going okay in terms of what we've been counting, so we'll just continue to monitor that situation. And I still don't want to put that to the side. I want to drop that. Crude oil. So with crude oil here, we looked at the possibility of having a low in place here, and then we looked at you know, this being an impulse wave, not the best looking one, but okay, and this was quite clear as a corrective pattern, impulse corrective, and so on. So it's doing all the right thing. What we want to see now is support on that $90 mark there. This is 9,000. It's a CFD product. So yeah, so I've got it as 1 and 2. Oh, sorry, 1 and... That's a bit better. Makes a bit more sense. I'll need to lift that up a degree of structure, so I'm just going to remove that. So yeah, look, it's all going okay. I've got a position here. I'm going to keep the stop here because that's 5 waves. We can keep it under there. And this move here will be 1 and 2, maybe that's the top of the third there, I'm not quite sure, but what I've done here is that top there, we can add to the positions at that point. If we get an ABC pattern here, that's why I've got that here, then we'll look to go long above the B wave at that point. I'm just going to get rid of that thing, it's just a bit noisy. So yeah, and also too, on the 93, if you get a classic trading levels pattern on 93, then we can also go long from that point there as well. So really it's about a matter of sort of eyeballing it. If you know the classic trading levels pattern where you have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then the ABC pattern, and then finding support, if you understand that process, then you can just build in through group one here, you know, just keep building in. But if you do buy here, you have to leave the stop under here until the 93 becomes the support. When 93 becomes the support with the classic trading levels pattern here, then you'll be able to bring the stop up under the 2 or maybe even a bit closer there. But this is where it needs to be at this point. Now I know that's a long way away and all the rest of it, but you know, you could be using this to trade certain stocks as well. So that's crude oil, and then we're over to natural gas. So natural gas has jumped. So, but in the bigger picture here on the daily chart, we'll go in and have a look in a minute, but so quite happy with the count in terms of wave A up here, and then an A wave, an A, B, C for the B wave, and then down for the C wave. Now this can be counted in 5 waves up here. So what does that mean to us? Well, it means that if that could be counted in 5 waves up here, then maybe I think I did another count on the 20k here or 50k. Let me just have a look. Wasn't on this one, so maybe it's on 50. Yeah, so I did this count here. So this count here takes it in consideration of 1 and 2 here, and then 3 here, and then 4 here. And we'll, you know, everybody was counting this up for the 5th wave here, whatever it was, you know, and then whatever. But, so I've just gone back over and I'm thinking, well, 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, 4th wave, 5th wave, and then pulling back here to the 4th wave, a deep 4th wave, and looking at this as a 5-wave move up here for wave 5. Now look, this is a little bit of a long shot, but the reason I'm doing this for is because if that is a top here, rather than what I've got it as before, then that means that we would just have a move to the 50-60% retracement level area here, or thereabouts, and then we'd have another move down at that point. So this may or may not be the case. It's a bit of a long shot, but what we'll do is we will track both counts up here. We'll count it up as a corrective pattern, and we'll count it up as an impulsive pattern. It's not going to hurt us to do this. You know, when we did this before and I had this as the A wave here, then an A and a B wave up here, and then, you know, we had the C wave down here. It was a long way and it looked impossible, but then it unfolded in that way, didn't it? So it doesn't always pan out, but it's, you know, if you're going to be going long, then you need to know the short side of it. If you're going short, then you need to know the long side of it. You can't stick your head in the ground, so you need to put all the counts on the table and look at them. So anyway, this the other thing here too is that, you know, I've made I can count 5 waves here, that's cool, and I can count 5 waves here. This is a bit of an assumption, putting wave 1 here, because it's just a bit messy in here, and in fact it could be wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, you know, so this could actually be a 4th wave coming back up here. It's also a bit of a long shot as well, not this particular, yeah, this one. I'm just, you know, I just kind of think out of the box a little bit. So from the B wave up here, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And from 2 we go to 3, 4, 5 here for the 3rd wave, and then an ABC for the 4th wave, and then down. I don't think it's the case, but you know, once again, we just need to keep an eye on it, and this wave 4 can pull back to this wave 4, so that could pull back to that 7270 there. So we'll just keep a bit of an eye on that, and in that case it would be an ABC for the A wave here, an ABC for the B wave here, then 1 and 2 and 1 2 3. So it would sort of come up into this space here. I don't think it's the case. I don't think it's the case because it's a little bit sort of powerful at this particular point in its structure. So it faces up better as a bullish count. Anyway, I'm just going to remove some of these here. I don't need these here for this, so I could use those on the other side, so I'll keep them here for that. Just a bit, got to move some of the objects off. So that's going to take us even higher here. So this is probably not the case, but it just doesn't hurt us to think outside the box a little bit. That'll take us sort of, yeah, too high there. But anyway, that's that. So I'll just go back to the daily chart for a moment, and this is what we need to do here. So there's two things we're looking at now that we can look at things a bit differently. So we can look at this being a move to here. I mean, when it gets to here anyway, it's going to react from here anyway, so we don't have to panic. But just to understand that there could be a turning point at this point in time. So it's either that or we're going to be moving up here much higher. Probably, I don't know how high, we'll see. You know, I don't want to get people excited and all the rest of it. It just doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? It's always a process of step by step with this. We should also look at the ETF for this as well. That might be a little bit easier to trade, or gas stocks, you know. So let's go in and have a look at this. So we're on, I think, 5. So I've got a bearish count on 20k, which we just looked at, but that was actually 50k. So I'll change that later. So 5 and 2 and 10, 5, 2 and 10. So I think we just looked at 10, didn't we? I'll just have a look at 10, 10, 5 and 2. Okay, so this will be a bullish count. So in this instance, we would be looking for off the low here of 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, which kind of makes sense for the gap here for the third wave in this case, you know. So we can bring this over here, and this here, and this here. We don't need those there. And I mean, the other thing here too, of course, is that I could put a bigger wave 1 here, but we can get to that a bit later. It doesn't really matter at this point with that, but this would be the count. So yeah, looking for 5 waves up, somewhere up in here somewhere for this, and then a pullback. So that would happen pretty much across, you know, give us a bit of a head and shoulder thing over here for this. So that was 10k. The 2k we're on. Okay, so this is the B wave going up. So in this case, because it never really counted as 5 waves here, that's the thing here. I have pulled it apart again, and I've got 5 waves out of it, and I'll show you that. But I feel like I'm squishing it up a little bit. But at the same time, we've got a corrective wave here, you know, as an A wave, and then a B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it does make a nice corrective move here. This makes a nice corrective move. This is corrective here. So it does appear that we've got some sort of, you know, more impulsive situation happening to the upside. So let's go in. Where were we with that? Was it 100 ticks or 1000? Let's go in here and have a closer look. Okay, I'm just going to clear some of this up here too. Do I need any of these? No, don't need these. Don't need that. I'll put that over there because that will be a bit of a warning sign. Don't need a lot of this stuff. Done its job, so to speak. And that one, don't need that. Don't need that. That makes life a bit easier. And don't need any of these now, so I should do this on my own time, but okay, so now over to this point here. So when I first counted this here, I counted it up as an ABC pattern. There's a couple of ways to do that, but if I was going to count it as an impulsive wave, I would need to look at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then taking this up to 5 here. I could also put it over here as well. It's not such a big deal, but it doesn't really give me a 5-wave structure down here. So looking at this here as wave 3, 4 and 5, that's how I would sort of squish it up in there, and look at that here as a 5-wave move here of 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. To fit that in, that would have to be the 3rd wave here, and then I can get 5 waves between this low and here. So I can do that with looking at this as the first impulse wave here, and then the correction in here with an ABC, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave here, and the 4th wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave here. So I can get 5 waves in that move. So that's why I could look at wave 1 here and wave 2 here, because I don't really get a nice 5-wave move here for this. So I could put these both here and look at this as 1. Oh no, I still need to put that as 2 here, sorry, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So that means that I need to look at this here as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 here. I've got 5 here. So I'd have to sort of bring this up here as somehow as I have to squash it all up and bring it up into this point, which I'll give that a bit more. I did look at it and it all seemed to be okay, but I need to go back and clarify my mind again. So as a bullish move, we could look at this as wave 1 here, and then an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for wave 2 or B. So I'll just put wave 2 here for this. It's just rather big for a wave 2. That's my sort of beef with that. And then wave up for wave 1, and then an ABC for back for 2. So we're looking at 1 and 2 on the bullish side here. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then coming across here we've got 5 waves here for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then we've got to figure out this here. This would be 1 and 2, and then we'll have the 3rd, 4th, 5th here for the 3rd wave. So the market's going to continue up, but what you see here is not what you get next. It will scoot along here, but when it starts hitting these fours and fives here, it will slow down. Now we're at I don't need that, so I'll put that here at the 7,000. So being at the 7,000, you can imagine that it would spend a little bit of time here. So it's going to get a little bit volatile here, but we should be looking at something like this here. So I don't know even know if this wave 3 is finished. I'll need to pull that apart, but it looks like 1, 2, 3 here, and then this move here. But this should be the 3rd of the 3rd, so it should have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. But so anyway, it should just continue up if you wanted to go long at this point. And when we get to the 8,000, this is where the 50-60% retracement level is here. So this is where I'll just put this wave C here. That's where we could run into problems at that point. So if we're looking at this as a corrective pattern, we can have wave A here, or we can put wave A over here and wave B over here and look for an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we can put the wave A here and the wave B over here, which also makes a bit sense as well. But as a wave B here to wave C here, this wave C is going to be too big for this wave A and B here. So the whole thing looks quite bullish to me, actually. That's what I'm sort of getting the feeling of here. And with everything, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in terms of being the beginning, we would want to see this up here as the first wave, as a bullish move. We would want to see that as wave 1, and I'll just label this wave 2. And what I wanted to say about this is that this here as wave 1 and 2, if we were looking in the bigger bullish picture with all of this, it would be something like this. So with wave 1 here, there'll be a beginning, a middle, and an end. So all of this here is the beginning. This gap here, that's the middle of it all. So you could pretty much grab this and flip it on its head, and then you'll end up into wave 1 here for this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So yeah, just to let you know that, you know, somewhere in this gap here will be the sort of halfway mark to it all. And then we'll have this wave 2. So if you're trading up here, this is the number where you kind of want to lock stuff in a little bit, you know, and then we'll take a bit of a look at it. Alrighty, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.